Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of my Halloween special. Here to talk about possibly my favorite psychological horror film of all time, Jonathan Demme's The Silence of the Lambs. um, as a teenager, I didn't really know what to expect while watching this movie because as a kid, every time I looked at the poster while seeing the DVD cover, I was like, "What's this about?" And my parents would be like, "You can't watch that, no." And and it wasn't until I first watched it as a teenager. I wondered about the poster as a kid, but as I watched it as a teenager, I fell in love with the movie ever since, and it is such an amazing movie. And it's amazing that this movie won a lot of Oscars, including Best Picture, and it has amazing performances from Jodie Foster and especially Anthony Hopkins, who won Best Actress and Best Actor. They deserve the Oscars because they are such amazing. They have such amazing performances, and when it comes to Anthony Hopkins as Hannibal Lecter, he is having the time of his life every time he's on camera. Because with that performance, for him, it's like the performance of a lifetime. Because I really love him as this character, and he is. He's a little menacing at times because especially while he's talking to Clarice Starling, played by Jodie Foster. And like I said, this movie is such. That is a masterpiece. And Jonathan Demme, who directed the movie, did an amazing job. Rest in peace. This is one of his best films, and possibly his best, for my opinion. Um, if you want me to summarize the plot, this is going to contain spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie, I implore you, please, it is worth your time. I highly recommend this. So it involves this FBI training, Clarice Starling, who is played by Jodie Foster, and well, she is sent to interview Dr. Hannibal Lecter, a psychiatrist who is also a cannibalistic serial killer who has been incarcerated for quite some time. And it gives me one of my favorite scenes in the entire film, when they first meet, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people would talk about this every time they're talking about this movie. A census taker once tried to test me. I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice candy. That's such an amazing scene. And like I said, Anthony Hopkins, he's having the time of his life every time he's on camera. And the thing is that which is obviously which is true. Ever since after Silence of the Lambs, Jodie Foster and Anthony Hopkins haven't done a movie together or even speak to each other after doing that movie because she thought that he was terrifying. And sure, he did give a terrifying performance, but I mean, still, given that as an excuse to not at least talk to the guy. He was just doing his job. But still, they were both amazing, like I said, um, and and there's another. The story also involves another serial killer nicknamed Buffalo Bill, who has been kidnapping and killing as well as skinning a couple of women in order to make him a suit made out of real women because he 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 was once involved in a sex change operation because I don't even want to talk about how I mean, and it later like gets to one scene which, I mean, it is a bit disturbing, but I'm not. I don't really have any negatives for the film because I love this movie, and like I said, it has amazing performances. The cinematography is some of the best I've ever seen, and like I said, the acting when it comes to Foster and Hawkins, they give amazing performances. Um, and one of my, I mean, like I said, possibly the best scenes in the film. I mean, they mostly involve, sorry, they mostly involve Starling and Lecter, and especially when they tried, I mean, well, when Buffalo Bill kidnaps a senator's daughter, uh, Clarice is then tasked to like give Lecter some phony deal, and Lecter like offers to give her information in exchange for personal information about herself, and she reveals that her worst memory of childhood was the death of her father, and that she was sent to her mother's cousin in Montana, and they had a sheep and horse ranch in Montana, and she only stayed there for a couple of months, and until she ran away, and he was like, "Why, Clarice? Did the rancher make you perform for the show? Did he sodomize you?" She was like, "No, he was a very decent man. Quid pro quo, doctor." I mean, like I said, I love every scene that involves Foster and Hawkins. I mean, they are doing their absolute best. And, I mean, I mean, these two actors they steal the show. Um, and sorry, I'll throw. And when Lecter is being transferred to in Tennessee, uh, uh, I mean, he's in a straitjacket, and right when he makes up with the senator, uh, the whew, I cannot even begin to tell you how. I mean, there's only like a couple of like great movie psychopaths that I can like talk about. I love Heath Ledger's Joker. I love Kathy Bates as Annie Wilkes in Misery. Jack Nicholson as Jack Torrance in The Shining. Anthony Perkins was amazing as Norman Bates. But when it comes to film psychopaths, Anthony Hopkins as Hannibal Lecter is up to that level. He is such I mean, this is an amazing performance, and that entire scene with the senator, I mean, it was ooh, and then and this has probably the like most gruesome prison break I have ever seen because Lecter does eventually escape and he's wearing a an officer's face uh, right when he right when he's being taken to the ambulance. Right when he takes the face off, it's revealed to be Lecter and not the officer who was injured. And I was like, "Good lord!" And Starlin does eventually track down Buffalo Bill and saves the senator's daughter, and then she kills him. And then the last scene with her getting a call from Lecter. I mean, I didn't mention this before. I mean, the last scene with Jodie Foster and Hopkins right before all the other stuff is about to happen. Uh, she was telling her more of her story and one involving a lamb that she took with her, but then the lamb eventually gets killed, and Ledger thinks that if she saved the senator's daughter, she would no longer hear the screaming of the lambs. And I like how he was like, "Well, Clarice, did the lambs stop screaming? Don't bother with the trace. I won't be on long enough." And 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 I like the one scene where right when he's still on the phone. I wish we could chat longer, but I'm having an old friend for dinner. Bye. And the camera points to his psychiatrist, and I love that scene so much. So yeah, Silence of the Lambs is one of the best psychological horror films of all time. It is definitely worth your time, and I'm going to give Silence of the Lambs a well-deserved A plus. I highly recommend giving this one to watch if you haven't seen this movie, and uh, it's such an amazing film, and like I said, for a film that has won multiple Oscars, it deserved them because it's such an amazing film. I'll try to figure out what other movies I want to review for my Halloween specials because this is, I mean, I'm having such a great time doing these. So you guys are the best. And until next time, peace.